Good day, everybody. Good day. This is Serge, and I am with Let's Talk. And as usual, I am your host. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for everybody who has joined. And right from the beginning, just a quick reminder: please like, please share, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave me a comment as well. Like, why? Because by you clicking like, it helps. I mean, you help the algorithm. You're pushing the algorithm to actually show this live stream to other people as well. And hey, if the things that we will be discussing here today will help that human being, that would be actually quite wonderful and good. So hit that like, and subscribe so that you would have the notifications every single time we go live. And welcome again, everybody who is joining. Today is going to be one of those interesting topics, and today will be the final part, part part four from a series of polygamy. Totally. I appreciate the person. I do not know his name, but I appreciate somebody left me a comment. Um, and I got into a conversation with him, and that actually led to him challenging me, and me making a decision to look into this subject according to the Bible. Why? Well, because it is in the Bible that we find the Torah, Zabur, and the Injil. We find the Torah. In the Torah we find how God has created everything to be, God's design, and God's original design is perfect. 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 So so we looked into the Torah. We looked into different parts of polygamy. Part 1 was the history of polygamy. Part 2 was the side effects of polygamy. And part 3 was the hardness of God's people's hearts. But then Jesus tripled down and restored marriage back to its original design. And today we will have part 5 of polygamy series. And part 5 is as it was from the beginning, from the start, the reason why polygamy and divorce were excluded from the law of Moses for the nation of Israel to follow. The reason why is because of, as Jesus describes and explains it in Matthew chapter 19, I think it's verse 6, where he says that it was because Moses allowed, or he permitted you to divorce your wives because of the hardness of your hearts. In other words, people were contending with Moses, contending, and Moses, he gave in. He gave in. He got sick and tired of fighting them. The fights were fierce, so he gave in. Um, but before we continue, let's always start with a prayer. Why? Simple. Prayer always helps. Through the prayer, God guides. He gives the wisdom, the understanding. He gives the strength and courage. He gives the boldness, boldness to proclaim that truth. So prayer is always good. Lord, thank you so much yet for another day. Thank you so much, Lord, that every single day we can be sure and confident that you are with us. You are the one who's guiding us. You are the one who is directing us. You are the one who's giving us wisdom and understanding. You are the one who is helping us and leading us to understand the truth. Thank you so much, Lord, for every single thing that you're doing in our lives. And you are surely, surely good. All of your ways are truly perfect. Truly perfect. No evil, not a flaw. Perfection shines for all to see. So thank you so much for who you are and everything that you have done. Thank you, Lord, for this another live stream. Thank you so much, Lord, for every live stream in the past and for every future live stream that will still yet to come. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everyone who is joining in. Thank you so much for thank you so much, Lord, for everyone who is participating as well. Just thank you so much for everything that is going on. And I do pray, Lord. I want to speak. I want to speak. I want the things that are on your heart. I want them to come out of my mouth. That's what I pray for, Lord. Help me, God, with this. Help me. Help me. Help me. Guide me from the beginning till the end. Guide me and help me to present what is in your heart, Lord, with boldness and courage. Please, in the almighty name of Jesus Christ, I pray. And spark different conversations, I pray. Spark different thoughts and understandings to be opened up within viewers. Spark, I pray. And to you alone be all praise and glory. Truly, truly good. And thank you so much. And what Jesus has done on the cross, how Jesus has rescued and redeemed us from sin and set us. Thank you for your salvation. You are truly good, our Heavenly Father. In the almighty name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Well, today is a good day. Today is a good day. And let's just jump right into the part number 4. Part number 4 will be interesting. It'll be a little different than first 3 parts. In part number 4, we will not be reading the Bible a lot. Actually, I'll briefly go over the first 3 parts, but part number 4 will be the concluding part. It's going to be an interesting one too. And false prophets come and corrupt marriage again. That's what they do. But not just marriage. How can I or you, how can we know if a prophet is true or false? Well, we have to look at their, yes, we need to hear their teaching, sure. But we also need to look at their life. And if through their teaching and through their lives they point to Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who came, laid down his life to save me, to save you from the sin that is rooted deep down within us and we simply cannot control. So if any prophet fights the perfect teachings of Jesus Christ, or literally just lives in sin, just okays sin, starts teaching sinful teachings, well, or fights the teachings of Jesus Christ. I mean, yes, fights the teachings of Jesus Christ. That's literally the base. There's nothing else. Fights the teachings, because if they will promote evil, that person is fighting the teachings of Jesus by default. So, yes, the base thing is this is what Jesus taught, and now let's see what other guys are teaching in order to understand if they're in line with Jesus or they're actually fighting Jesus. And if they're fighting Jesus, that's a false prophet. Now, another way is if a person is claiming they're following Jesus, but in their own life their life is a mess, upside down, and they live a life in sin, then that's a false prophet as well. That's literally a false prophet. So those are the ones that will try to actually change the commandments of God. They will try to change God's good commandments and corrupt them into whatever their flesh desires, whatever their flesh wants. And honestly speaking, me as a man, I do understand what this flesh wants. I do understand. I mean, I'm saying towards women. I understand what this flesh wants. And this flesh, if you keep on feeding it, even if you reach 1,000, as Solomon had, it's still not going to be enough. It will always want more. More and more and more and more. Why? Because that is that sin. Sin. That never gets true satisfaction. Always creeps inside of the heart and no true satisfaction in marriage at all. So I, as a man, I do understand what this sinful flesh wants. But at the same time, we have to reason with our minds. Does this right here, what this flesh wants, is it good or is it evil? We have to reason with our minds. Look at the word of God. See the design of God, and so on, so forth. So now, brief points from a history of polygamy. Brief points. The first point is polygamy was first spotted around 500 years after humanity fell into sin. So the very first sign of polygamy is not instantaneous. No, it's little like 500 years after. The second point is polygamy was first spotted within Cain's evil descendants line, whom God, that entire line, whom God later destroyed in the flood. They all perished in the flood. So, in essence, polygamy died with them. That's a brief history of polygamy. Why polygamy died with them? Because we do not spot, that's the point number 3, we do not spot any signs of possible polygamy within Seth's righteous line. From Seth to Noah, we do not spot any smallest bits or smallest sign of polygamy in that line at all. It just doesn't exist at all. But within Cain's evil line, it's as clear as day. It's as clear as day. So, the evil line, they indulged in this destructive behavior. But God's line, God's righteous line that wanted to live according to God's ways, they understood the right way to live. And all the way till flood, there's no sign of polygamy from the righteous life. So that means that God completely ended polygamy right there at the flood. Polygamy was progressing amongst the evil line of Cain. It was progressing, growing, and then God just ended it. Booms, right there. But after the flood, few hundred years after the flood, we see polygamy comes right back again. It restarts, resurfaces. And that brings us into now the side effects of polygamy. Why? Because after the flood, one of the first people we see polygamy resurfacing is the father of Abraham. I think his name was Torah, something along those lines. So the father of Abraham had a minimum of 2 wives. How do I know this? Because Abraham calls Sarah his sister not according to his mother, but according to his father only. So that means the mother of Sarah was another woman. It was not the same mama as Abraham's mom, but dad was the same. So one man having a minimum of two wives. That's the first time I could spot polygamy after the flood. And then Abraham, because of what was going on with Sarah and the hard pressures of not being able to bear children, and it's completely out of your control, Sarah just made a huge mistake that brought a huge mess to our planet. So she made a huge mistake. And she literally, in a way, pushed. You know, there's this thing. If a man, according to, mm, well, some people say yes, some people say no. Some people within Islam say yes. You need a consent from your wife in order to go get married to the second wife, and some Muslims say no. A man does not need a consent. Quran does not speak about any consent related things, so you can just go and get married at your own free will, and your wife does not even have to know. And one of my Muslim friends, he even described this concept as, well, hey dude, it's awesome. All you have to do is become a truck driver, yeah, and have a wife in different cities and visit them as you work. He presented this to me. I go like, you're out of your mind. And he said they don't even need to know this. They don't even need to know that they're one of the wives. I go like, you're asking for trouble. You're literally asking for trouble. but back to the subject. That's just a side point of one of the conversations. Um but the very, very second that Hagar, Abraham's second wife, realized that she now is the wife of Abraham, that very second, a rivalry has started between Sarah and Hagar. Hagar was a slave that became a wife of Abraham and started to contest, started to compete with Sarah for a primary wife position. Now Hagar has a child. Abraham wants a child. But Sarah has no children and she cannot give birth. So whom will Abraham prefer, Sarah or Hagar? And that caused a rivalry between two women. And Sarah couldn't really do much now with her slave. She couldn't punish her because her slave was carrying the child of Abraham. So she couldn't really do much at all. So then she went and started to literally attack Abraham, blaming him for the misery that she is going through. So Abraham acknowledged that Sarah is his wife, not Hagar, and gave full permission to Sarah to do whatever she wants to do. Sarah acted in such a way. She was so nice to Hagar, so nice, so kind to Hagar, that Hagar ran away. Literally, ran away. But Angel returned her back and told Hagar to submit to Sarah. To submit to Sarah. So we can see, and this polygamy caused a side effect issue to such degree that for 13 years there was a continual strife, continual issues. In the beginning between Hagar and Sarah, but later on we see issues between the children when Ishmael is making fun of Isaac. And Sarah sees it and she goes like, I am not having this. I am not having this. Abraham, get this beep, 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 beep out of here. Period. And her children too. Because her child will have no inheritance whatsoever. My child gets the whole thing. He is the promised one of God. And then Abraham had to do the hard thing, and Hagar and Ishmael, the child of Abraham, goodbye. He kicked them out. He had to do the hard thing, the thing that really displeased him. So polygamy caused some major side effect issues between Hagar and Sarah and their children for 13 years until Hagar was kicked away. The second she was kicked away, things have calmed down again. So this proves, if there is another woman as a wife, then there is as if this rivalry, natural rivalry between women. They cannot control themselves but to fight and bicker between each other. That's just how God has designed things to be. Polygamy has side effects, whether we like it or not. And then if we continue in the story of the marriage, the family life of Jacob, we see what a marriage nightmare truly looks like. We literally see a prime definition of wives nearly physically fighting between each other. Emotionally, oh, big time. There's big time backstabbing. There's big time, this husband is mine. No, this husband is mine. You stole my husband. No, you stole my husband. There's big time of that. Again, marriage, Jacob's marriage, polygamous marriage, also proves that the second wife comes into the picture, and preference with inside of a dude, a preference starts to arise towards one and not the other, then what happens is a fight between wives. Who will take the primary role? Dudes, do you really want this? I understand you want maybe extra sex, but yo, you're gonna get so much headache that I bet you would be regretting that you ever made this decision. So much headache. Plus, women are great, don't get me wrong, but God made them different than men. We're not structured, we're not built in the same way. Men are more logical. They're more they're thinkers. They're less afraid of things. Why? Because they can process information logically. But woman is more emotional. When her emotional strikes, her logic kind of starts to sometimes fail. We're designed in a different way. And that's one of the reasons. The core design is one of the reasons why it's harder for a father to sit home with children than for a mother. Mother has that natural compassion for kids. Daddy is built in a different way. Daddy is built to go out there and fight for his family. Bring home all the goods that are necessary for the care and protection of his family. That's what daddies are built for. Mamas are built in a different way. Mamas are built in a nourishing way. So this is just a side note. Just a side note. But again, let's get back to the topic. Dude, again, if a woman is built so emotionally, and you will be hitting her with, or you're going to be pulling on her jealousy strings. Look, according to the Bible, one of the emotions that brings fierce anger is jealousy. So when a second wife comes in, a husband is pulling on their jealousy strings, and that jealousy sparks women to fight. Dude, do you really want that in exchange to have sex with two women? Do you really want that? Sure, you'll have sex with two different women this week. But yo, your head is gonna be full of nagging issues from both sides. Do you really want that? Like, think with your this head right here. This head. This brings us to a close of the side effects of polygamy, which starts the next part. If there are such huge side effects of polygamy, why didn't Moses forbid polygamy or divorce? And right from the beginning, polygamy and divorce, they come in the same verse. They come hand in hand. They're pretty much almost always used together within a subject. You literally can spot a reference to a polygamy and a reference to divorce within even one verse. Um, so if there's such huge side effects, why did Moses allow it to happen? I mean, Moses, he understood how God has created the heavens and the earth. He understood it. He understood that right there in the beginning there was one man and one woman, and he understood. He has seen God's original design, God's perfect design. He has seen with his own two eyes. God has shown him. And Jesus says it was because of the hardness of the Israelites' hearts that Moses has permitted them to divorce and restricted the polygamy aspect as well. It was all because of men's hard hearts. And if we try to remember the context, what Moses had to work with, that first generation, they were literally kids on massive tantrums. And at random time, they would have a tantrum. They run out of water, and they're nearly picking up stones to kill Moses. Really? Really? Come on, let's work things out. Let's figure out where we're going to get some water. Why are you why are you about to stone me or Moses? Let's search for water instead. You killing Moses will not give you water. Actually, it did, because God stood up. That's beside the point. But that's just the type of people Moses was continually dealing with. For 40 years, he was dealing with them. And during those 40 years, yes, he was writing the law. God was revealing the law to him, and Moses was writing it down in Torah. And I'm pretty sure when Moses wrote something like against polygamy or divorce down, there was a kind of a big pushback, to the point that I guess Moses backed down. And instead of canceling those things, he put certain restrictions so that it would not cause massive evils and unfairnesses. But they will cause evil anyways. but just not massive evil. Controlled evil, let's see if we can control evil by restricting polygamy and divorce. If we can control those evil side effects, let's see if we can do that. It didn't work anyways. Jesus came, and he said, "No, guys, we're going back to the beginning. You contended with Moses. You contended with Moses. You stood up to him. You nearly stoned him. But no, we are going back to God's original design. Genesis chapter 2, 24. Period." And then the Pharisees said, "Whoa, you are going against Moses." They're starting to press against Jesus. They're starting to accuse him of going against the Torah. And Jesus, well, God's original design is in the Torah. It's literally in the beginning of Torah. The law is later, but God's original design is in the beginning of Torah. And Jesus, instead of being afraid of their accusations and that those Pharisees pressing on him, he doubled down. He says, yo, divorce is canceled as of right now. How? Well, let me tell you something. If a dude divorces his wife and he goes and marries another woman, he commits adultery. Adultery? What? Adultery? Yes, he commits adultery. Jesus literally doubled down. And then he says, if a dude finds a woman that is divorced and marries her, he also commits adultery. He literally doubled down. The divorce is canceled as of when he spoke those words. And when that happens, then Jesus' disciples say, yo, no, come on, what's going on here? No, then if you're canceling divorce, then it's better not to marry. Like, it's going to be a living hell if we cannot divorce our wives. They're going to be annoying us till we go crazy. If she is a beep, 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 I'm giving her a divorce letter, period. And off she goes. Yo, Jesus, it's better not to marry than to obey what you said. Jesus' disciples are now pressing on him. And you can find this in Matthew 19 in the beginning, verse 1 through 10, 9, somewhere over there. And then Jesus responds back to his disciples. Guys, you are correct. You're correct. This understanding, this right here, this what I just said in regards to the marriage by returning it back to the beginning. It wasn't given to everybody. Okay, it wasn't. To those that this understanding was given and they can properly make marriage happen, then they should get married. But if you can't, then be a eunuch. Period. So he tripled down. He literally tripled down to bring marriage back to God's original design. Jesus did not care. He did not care if even his own people are pressing against him publicly. He did not care. Why? Jesus is the creator, and creator reveals the truth of how he made things to be, including marriage. And So divorce was canceled right there that day, and polygamy, right from that day, it wasn't canceled, but Jesus started a teaching that will enable polygamy to fade away. You, it's in a way evil to cancel polygamy right there that day. It's in a way evil. Why? Because what's going to happen to the second wife and her children, the third wife and her children, the 10th wife and her children? What's going to happen? A man would have to divorce them. Okay? Do you remember how Jesus also doubled down on divorce and polygamy when he said that anyone who marries her who is divorced, that man is committing adultery? Okay, so now if the second wife through whatever 10th wife is divorced, she's not, according to Jesus, she's not allowed to get remarried at all, or the man is committing adultery. So she then what? Ends up being single for the rest of her life? So Jesus knows what he's doing. So he enables right there from the time when he spoke Matthew 19. He enables a process, a teachings. He introduces a teaching. He literally is the word of God. He pronounces something that will enable polygamy to fade away and be outlawed, as we actually see in today's day. We see how polygamy in today's day is simply outlawed. You cannot have two wives in the United States and many other countries around the world. You cannot have two wives. It's actually illegal. And later on, we see Paul. Paul, he did not break the teachings of Jesus. He did not. He actually, he, how can I say this? He put a plan into action. That's as simple as I can say. Paul put a plan into action. Like, yo, what are you talking about? He put a plan into action. Well, Jesus said that the marriage is going back to the beginning. This is what Jesus said. So now, if marriage is going back to the beginning, then polygamy and divorce is no longer on the good side. They don't work anymore. We're fading them out. They will be dealt with. So Paul, knowing and understanding that, he actually tells to Timothy and to Titus, he goes, hey guys, I left you, like Timothy, I left you in Ephesus, and Titus, I left you in Crete. And the purpose why I left you over there is so that you would in a way establish a church leadership. You'd bring together a church leadership. But guys, listen to me carefully. These are the type of men that are allowed to lead, to be an elder or a bishop of the church. And the description is a husband of one wife. One of the descriptions is a husband of one wife. So Paul is putting a motion into action. Jesus gave a motion, and Paul is putting it into action by not by outright canceling polygamy. No. But actually putting a motion where polygamy naturally will fade away. Over the generations, it will fade away. And as we can see in today's day, it did in many parts of the of our earth, of our globe. It faded away. And that motion was the church leadership will be a husband of only one wife. God's proper design. there's this concept out there: monkey see, monkey do. Whatever we see, that's what we copy and we do. And especially if a person has a leading position, a leadership role, then the flock by default is looking at that leader and they are copying that leader because they are aspiring to be in a way like him. And on top of it all, everybody within a church congregation knows that if you ever want to be a leader of a certain area of a church congregation, be an elder or a bishop, whatever the bishop and the elder executed back then, but be an elder or a bishop, then you cannot have more than one wife. You have to obey God's original marriage design. You cannot have more than one wife. So people that actually had a calling or aspiration, they would naturally view polygamy as a negative thing, and would teach their friends and would talk to their friends and discuss the subject of polygamy and the side effects of polygamy with their friends. Why? To discourage polygamy from happening within the church. And over few generations, again, we see that in today's day, polygamy is outlawed in many countries around the globe. Why? Because that motion. So Jesus gives a motion. He speaks a teaching. He gives a motion, and then Paul sets an action. So that motion into action worked quite well. Where in today's day, polygamy is gone. Yes, we do have divorce, but again, why do we have divorce? Men's hard hearts. How can I live with this woman for the rest of my life? Look what she's doing. She's driving me insane. Okay, here. A letter of divorce. Goodbye. Men's hard hearts. And yes, man, I understand, y'all. Some women, they really know how to drive men insane. They really do know. And they're a real pain in the neck. And everywhere else. They really know, and Solomon also said, yo, it's much better if I live somewhere in some kind of a small shack with just one piece of bread, then I will live in a palace having everything with that type of woman that will drive me insane. I'd rather live in a small shack than with her and in a pleasant conditions. Solomon had wisdom to understand this too. But anyways, that was the process of polygamy fading away. And that's how we see over the years it's faded away in many places, and it keeps on fading away. Because I looked into different religions, which religions accept polygamy or not. Why? Because this is the topic. The topic in essence is literally here. Let me show you. See? False prophets corrupt marriage again. What does that mean? Jesus restored marriage back to the beginning. Back to the beginning, as it was in the beginning. He literally restored it. Now, false prophets come and say, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. We are introducing divorce back and we are bringing polygamy back. You're working on fading it away, but we will work on teaching people it's okay to have multiple wives. Yes, Jesus, you said that what God has united, man shall not separate, thus canceling the divorce. But Jesus, we simply cannot stand our wives. So we will continue to give them a certificate of divorce and send them away. We just simply cannot stand them, okay? So false prophets twisted the teachings of Jesus and introduced their own teachings, while at the same time claiming they believe in Jesus. We'll look into two false prophets today because I mean well it's 7:50 already. But we'll look only into the lives of two. But if anyone, let me see here where I'm at. If anybody wants to say something, throw a good point in there or challenge in anything, you guys are welcome to raise your hand. And if you're in Telegram, you're welcome to raise your hand. And if you are also in the public studio room, then you're welcome to raise your hand, and I will bring you up online. Because there are actually right now 3 methods where you can watch Let's Talk live streams. The first is YouTube. So on YouTube, all you can do is actually ask questions. And but you know, on YouTube it's a very nice platform to if you just want to watch only. It's a very nice platform if you want to watch only. Not really engage much, but mostly to watch. Sometimes to throw a comment or two. So that's what YouTube is great for. Then a Telegram is a mix, but you need to have an app. So a Telegram is a mix between engaging, because you can actually engage, engaging and watching. But I'm right now, as I'm comparing YouTube to Telegram, I'm noticing that in Telegram you cannot really send comments. I need to look into that. You cannot send comments in Telegram, but you can send in YouTube. But in Telegram, you can raise your hand to talk, but you cannot raise your hand to talk in YouTube. So just so that people would know. But if you really want to raise your hand and talk, you don't have a Telegram. Actually, I there's a link at the top of comments. There's a link. Click on that link, and it will take you to our public studio room, and you'll watch exactly the same feed as you're watching on YouTube. You're watching on Telegram, and right whenever you're ready, simply raise your hand, and I'll bring you up on stage. Now, for now, we will be drink, and we will continue. We will transition from the history, side effects, and restoration into how false prophets are trying to bring the chaos of polygamy and divorce back. Why? Because the false prophets are only trying to please their own flesh. Polygamy, that's what men think. Polygamy pleases their flesh. Multiple women. Divorce? Well, when I'm sick and tired of this multiple women, goodbye, get out. I'll just go grab another one. It pleases their flesh as well. So anyone who restores those two back to as if it's not a sin, or not a sin, not an evil thing, or as if it's not part of God's original design, as if fighting Jesus Christ when Jesus Christ initiated the fading away of polygamy and instant cancellation of divorce. Well, the word antichrist. Antichrist. Yes, it has this profound, deep meaning. It really does. You know what it means? Let's break it down in simple. Stop trying to be this profound professors. If we will try to be this profound professors, we will confuse things. But let's try to be simple. The word Antichrist means anti is against. Christ is, well, there's only one Christ. He is Jesus, the Christ. So simple, Antichrist is a person who is against Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ said this. Antichrist says, no, guys, no, hold on. We understand that Jesus taught this, but that was only for those times and that generation. That's it. Jesus came only to those, and he taught only those. It does not apply to us in today's day in any way. Why? Because my Allah, my personal Allah that is in my mind, and I imagine him every single day, and he's he says it's okay to divorce and commit polygamy. The Allah that is in my head, that is whenever I prophesy, I scream like a donkey. Tells me it's okay to do these evil things. I moan like a camel. Hadiths are interesting, by the way. Some people that know what I'm talking about, yeah, they know what I'm talking about. The ones that don't, we will get into hadiths today. Actually, let me just something real quick. Out of my settings to make sure it's fine, and a little drink. Thank you. Let's transition back to the subject. Okay, so now we are transitioning into an actual subject. My beginning points took 50 minutes. I apologize. I wanted to get the whole thing down within 50 minutes, but I suck at keeping time. But it's okay. Nobody's speaking. Nobody's asking. Then let's continue. Okay, so now let's jump into the Bible, even though we're not gonna be reading the Bible much today. Let's jump into the Bible because we need to start this with what the Bible says. The Bible is the foundation. Okay, so because the Bible is the foundation, we have to start this topic with what the Bible says. Let's go into 3 different verses. I'm just thinking which one to start with. Let's start with Matthew 5. I don't remember the verse here, but we'll find it soon. No, not 5. Matthew 7. 7. Somewhere verse 9. There we go. Okay, so verse 15. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves. In simple, what this means, they come to you in sheep's clothing, but inside they are ravenous wolves, is they will give you, the false prophet will always give you an appearance that he is a good human being. He will always carry himself, present himself like he's floating on air. He's so calm and chill. Everyone he touches, that person just receives this calmness and falls to the ground in worship to this false prophet. Yeah, he's gonna have a certain appearance. He will be like a sheep in his appearance. People will actually think that this person is godly. He's like a prophet of God. He will be acting in such a way. But inwardly, they are ravenous wolves. But in other words, this sheep's clothing is nothing more than hypocrisy. Because on the inside, they are not seeking your benefits. They're actually seeking to destroy you, to take advantage of you, to backstab you, and to destroy you. That's what they're seeking. That's it. And Jesus continues, you will know them by their fruits. This is very important. Know them by their fruits. Why by their fruits? Because it's very easy to talk the talk. Yo, it's very easy to talk the talk. I can blabber all day. I mean, y'all can hear sometimes for 4 hours. And then my head goes like, oh. But anyways. So yeah, it's easy to talk the talk. But to walk the walk, that is hard. That is hard. That requires genuine living faith. To walk the walk, remember this, requires genuine living faith. So that is why, if the person is the prophet of God, they will be walking the walk. Why? Because the prophet always lives by faith. But if that dude is claiming to be a prophet or is trying to act like a prophet, but in their personal life, in their life, they literally are a mess. A mess like what? Not stinky. Sometimes we stink. Yeah, we overwork ourselves and we stink, sure. But I'm talking about from the standpoint of you living in sin, literally living in sin, indulging in sin every single day, just living in sin. And sin, we do understand what sin is. It's a rebellion against God. It's those evil behaviors that are coming from our hearts and defiling us. That's what sin is. So if a person is living in sin and they preach or they talk about God, Jesus is describing them as false prophets. Because I will be looking at their life, their personal life. If they put the kingdom of God first, if they proclaim Jesus Christ, if they have true passion and desire to live a godly life, I'll be looking at their life first. And then listening to what they're saying. If both match, they're true. If they don't match, that person's false. Okay? And verse 18, verse 19. Let's start here. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and is thrown in the fire. No, let's start with verse 18. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them. This is important. By their fruits you will know them. Who is a false prophet and who is real. By their fruits, by their actions, by their lifestyle. You will know them. This is number one. The second warning that I want to show you about the false prophets is located in the beginning of Matthew. Right here. And Jesus answered and said to them, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. So, a false prophet will attempt to come, notice this, in Jesus' name, as if he is approved by Jesus, and claim that he is the Christ, that he is replacing Jesus. And claim how? Maybe not directly with words, But definitely in the way that they teach, in their teachings, they will definitely be trying to remove Jesus from who he is, and to replace and to put themselves in their place, in the place of Jesus, where it becomes like they are the prophets, the final prophets, the final that says, I say like this and it stays like this. No other is coming after me. So if the person says that they're the final prophet and they're the prophet after Jesus Christ, then what they're saying in essence is they are the Christ, because they have the final complete message. They in a way have the greatest authority and supersede them all, I guess, as some of the prophets are trying to say. And so many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. And look what Jesus is saying. And will deceive many. Will deceive many. So yes, many Christians will be deceived by the false prophets that are claiming that they are the Christ. Not Jesus. Well, look, not verbally, not maybe verbally. Some will say even verbally too. But some do not say verbally. They literally teach it in their teachings. Okay? So these are the two things that Jesus has warned us. So the first one we read is, how do you get to know if the prophet is true or false? The second one we read is the false prophets. They will be very, very effective, and they will deceive many. They will. And Jesus says, take heed that no one deceives you. So Jesus is doubling down, saying, guys, be careful. Now let's jump into Paul. The Islam's most hated figure. I have no clue why though. I mean, all the teachings of Paul that I've come across, they all of them confirm what Jesus said. Paul built the house upon the foundation, which is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ teachings. But some people have a big grudge with Paul. For no reason at all, too. Oh, no. There's a reason. I personally think the reason is what we're going to read right now. This is the reason why. So, 600 years before Muhammad comes along, Paul is warning the church of people like Muhammad are coming. They're literally coming. So yes, the Bible does point to Muhammad is coming. It does. The Bible also points to that Joseph Smith is coming. It does. Paul is prophesying that it will happen. Look what Paul says. I marvel that you are turning away so soon from him who called you in the grace of God to a different gospel, which is not another, but there are some who trouble you and want to pervert the gospel of Christ. This is very important. Want to pervert, corrupt, twist the gospel of Christ. The gospel of Christ is the teachings of Jesus Christ. A person intentionally wants to pervert the teachings of Jesus. But, even if we or an angel from heaven, okay? So even if Paul himself, let's say Paul comes back to this church, to this believers in 5 years. And Paul says, yo, church, I now have a grand revelation from God that supersedes this previous revelation from God. And in my grand revelation from God, Jesus is no longer the Messiah. No, he's still the Messiah. We'll still call him the Messiah, but he is no longer the prophet. I am the prophet. Listen to me now. Period. Whatever I say, that goes. Whatever Jesus says, remember, it was for that time only. Not for today. For today, it's me. Oh, and by the way, I understand that maybe somebody else is going to come in the future and say that I supersede the last one. So let me tell you that I'm the last one. None comes after me. So if the next one's going to come, don't listen. Don't listen. Don't listen. It's funny, guys. It's funny. Because Jesus in Matthew 24, I think it was verse 6 or 4, he literally says, take heed that no one deceives you. Take heed. He's warning that such antichrist, such false prophets will come to try to change the teachings of Jesus. His warning, but if we or an angel from heaven, so if an angel comes, angel came to a few, and we'll look into those two today. But if angel comes from heaven, preach any other gospel to you than what we have preached to you, let him be accursed. As we have said before, so now I say again, if anyone preaches any other gospel to you than what you have received, let him be accursed. And I think because of this prophecy, Muslims, they genuinely hate Paul. They literally genuinely hate Paul. Because Paul in this prophecy is calling the Islamic Gabriel an accursed being. Accursed being. An evil being. Why? Because according to Islam, Islamic Gabriel came to Muhammad and gave them the updated version of the Word of God. The updated version. In the updated version of the Word of God called the Quran, Muhammad says that his Allah is making him scream like a donkey. That's in hadiths. Or moan like a camel when he receives the word of Allah. He moans, moans, moans. And then from this moaning, Arabic language comes out finally. Literally a description of someone who is demon possessed. According to, yes, every Christian, the Bible, the Injil, Jesus Christ himself, and logic. But again, in some religions, you have to make it as mystical as you possibly can. So the harder you moan like a camel, the more God is speaking to you, because it's mystical. And people just do not understand how the process of God speaking to you works. They don't understand that human being moans like a camel when God speaks to them. But that Islamic Gabriel that came to the cave, to Muhammad, to the cave, he literally brought Muhammad an alternative gospel, another gospel. Quran presents another way of salvation. Okay? Completely different way of salvation than what we find in the Injil, or the Gospels, or the teachings of Jesus, or what we even find in the Torah. Quran is its own way of salvation. So, yes, according to this passage that we just read, this passage, if anyone comes with another gospel, let that being be accursed. So if Muhammad did not accurse that angel that came to him in the cave of Hira, but is spreading this another gospel, then all Christians need to accurse the teachings of Muhammad. Literally accurse the teachings of Muhammad. Understand and believe that the teachings of Muhammad are truly a curse, an evil curse. And again, side notes, that's why I think Muslims hate Paul. And if we were to even compare the teaching of Muhammad and Jesus on the topic of polygamy and the topic of divorce, we'll find something interesting. Let's do a little digging. Let's do a little digging. And same thing goes with Joseph Smith. He claims that angel named Mira, I think it was Mira, that came to him and revealed to him this hidden book that literally contradicts the Bible. Yeah. God reveals to a prophet God's word that contradicts God's word. What a logical God, right? Or that prophet is false. One of the two. Like same thing with Quran. Quran says that in Surah 3:3, it says that Quran is confirming the Gospels. And then we open up the Gospel to John 3:16. We read and we go like, yo, it says here, Jesus is saying, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be saved. To condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. And then 600 years after, this Muhammad comes and says, yo, folks, listen. Here's a new way of getting saved. And this new way of getting saved is like this. Listen very carefully. Do not believe in Jesus. If you do, you're going to hell. But if you don't, you're going to heaven. This is the new way of getting saved. You believe in Jesus? You're going to hell. But if you don't believe in Jesus, you are going to heaven. Well, obviously, you have to accept me as your new Jesus. Then we can talk. But the base is, if you do not believe Jesus, then you have a possibility of going to heaven. But if you believe Jesus, your chances of going to heaven is 0. 0. That is the alternative gospel, another gospel that this angel, Islamic angel Gabriel, brought to Muhammad at cave of Hira. Joseph Smith is similar event. He receives this hidden book that literally contradicts the word of God and God's essence and everything else. But anyways, that's just for us to understand why Muslims hate Muhammad. Not Muhammad, I'm sorry. Why Muslims hate Paul, because Paul has warned that this is going to happen. Now, let's go to... Okay, so now Islam, we're going to actually look, the first one we'll look into is into Islam. How a false prophet comes and brings corruption to God's design of marriage again. And the reason, like, oftentimes I wanted to know why. I want to know, why are people doing what they're doing? Like, why? And I personally think, yes, Muhammad, he tried to present it from a good standpoint of view, where it's like, yo, let's take care of this woman. In return, they are having sex with us. We're just gonna make them our wives. We'll provide for their food, their shelter, their basic necessities, and in return, they're spreading their legs and blah 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 blah. That's Muhammad's style of helping the widows. They still have to give you something in return. Okay, that's his style. Now, why they have to give you something in return? Because as much as I've studied the Quran, the Islam, and their whole line of thinking, I see that it's very extremely sexualized religion, like sexualized. Like they treat sex as something an extremely nearly godlike type of thing. It's extreme for them. And if you look at what the Quran allows, from the standpoint of view of in the sexual section, then you'd be asking questions if Quran is actually from God or not. But here on earth, according to Quran, Islam partially fulfills man's lustful desires by allowing to have sex with up to 4 women. Yes, even in one night, one after another. You cannot bring them all 4 of them together at the same time, but one after another. Yes. Let me show you. And I told you we will look into hadiths. Hadiths are the book of wild Muhammad. Let's look at the wild Muhammad, his story. So we'll be looking at Sunnah. That's an authentic hadith. Al-Bukhari, 268. Okay, so this is what it says. Let me zoom in real quick. See? Oh, I can see good. Okay. So Anas bin Malik said, Muhammad used to visit all his wives in a round. Wow. During the day and night. And they were 11 in number. The whole day he would just be hopping from a wife to a wife. Hop one. He's done with that one. He's going to visit the next one. To hop her two. Then he's done with the second one. Well, I'll see you later. Let me go visit the third one. To hop her. It was like a sexual drug addict. I asked Anas, has the Prophet the strength for it? Does Muhammad have so much strength to actually do those hop rounds between the wives? Anas replied, we used to say that Muhammad was given the strength of 30 men. And he had only 11 wives. But he has the strength of 30 men. He can execute 30 wives in one day. But he has only 11 to execute. So he has a lot more strength left over after he's done with the 11 that he has. By the way, today, this is more of a PG-13. PG-13. execute wives. Not execute. Well, execute his sexual desires over them. Yeah. Jump on them and hop them due to the execution. But anyways, today, this topic, what I'll be talking about, is gonna be PG-13 or higher. Maybe PG-16. Okay. So I just want to give you a warning beforehand. If you're listening, if you have kids listening, I will try my best to make it more in a parable way that adults do understand, but kids might not. But might not be all the time. I'm just letting y'all know. This is one of those marriage type of subjects. Okay, so we used to say that Muhammad was given the strength of 30 men. He got 30 rounds inside of himself. And Said said on the authority of Qatada that Anas had told him about 9 wives only, not 11. Oh, so he didn't have 11. He had only 9. But still, he had the strength for 30 females. And he was visiting his wives throughout the day and throughout the night because he was that strong. Now let's jump in Quran. We'll do some reading from the Quran. I just want you guys to see something. Something. Start with. Okay. Let's start with the chapter 55, and verses will be from 46 to 78. This is gonna be a little bit on the longer side of reading, and I have 2 passages to read, and them both are a little bit on the longer side, but just bear with me. Okay, so 55, 46. And for the one who is fearful of having to stand before his Lord, there are 2 gardens. Okay, so Quran is talking about Islamic heaven. Islamic heaven. Islamic heaven is a different heaven, much different heaven than how Jesus is describing heaven to be. So wherever Muhammad got his heaven from, I have no clue. But it's definitely not from the same God that is Jesus' father. So which of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? Interesting question that Muhammad is asking. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Both having branches. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? In both there are 2 flowing springs. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? The spring? In both of the gardens there are 2 kinds of every fruit. So in the garden, in Islamic heaven, there's only 2 kinds of fruit. You ain't getting the third one. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Which fruit will you deny? The first one or the second one? The people of these gardens will be reclining on the flooring, whose even linens will be of thick silk. And the fruits plucked from the 2 gardens will be at hand. And such a luxurious lifestyle. So which of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? In them there will be maidens. Maidens will be there, restraining their glances. They will be doing this. Oh, look at me. Don't look at me. No. No, don't look at me. I'm so shy. But I'm seducing you. I'm so shyly seducing you. Whom neither a man might have touched before them, nor a jinn. So those females, they haven't been touched by a demon or by a man. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? They will look like rubies and corals. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Just think about it. Man, think about the woman. The type of woman that will be there. Is there any reward for goodness other than goodness? Man, if you're gonna be good here, obedient to Muhammad, this is the goodness you're gonna get. Those maidens, you're gonna get maidens in plural form. That will be like nearly blushing, seducing you. Man, look at the heaven Muhammad is presenting you. Is there any reward for the goodness other than goodness? So which of the bounties of your Lord will you deny? And besides these two, there are two other gardens for the second category of God-fearing, whichever, I don't know who the second category is, whatever. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Both gardens are dark green. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? In both, there are two springs gushing forth profusely. Guys, so which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? In both, there are fruits of date, palms, and pomegranates. That's the only two fruits you get. That's it. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Which fruit are you going to deny? The first one or the second one? In them, there will be woman. Woman. In plural form. There's going to be a lot of woman in that paradise. Man, there's going to be a lot of women. Good and gorgeous. Man, look at the heaven. Muhammad is presenting you a place that will have two types of fruit. That will have two streams. And a bunch of women. Beautiful women. And gorgeous. So which, man, please tell me, which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? The two streams, the two fruits, or bunch of women? the houris, that those women, the houris, that's them. That's the special like a heavenly. That's not the earthly wife type. No, man, come on. No, you cannot compare this hoodie to the earthly wife. No, this hoodie is there to please you. Like, literally, please you. Like, do everything in your imagination that you will be exploding inside out. She's gonna be pleasing you. She's literally your personal sex slut. Whatever you want to call her. The houris kept guarded the pavilions. Man, within what? Within, where we at? Where we started? 46? We're at 73 right now. And we're almost done. Let's be done, okay. And then I'll make the point. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Those houris, whom neither a man might have touched before them, nor a jinn. Those women. There'll be many over there. And they're fresh. They haven't been touched. Man, jump on them. They're your reward. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? The people of those gardens will be reclining on green cushions and marvelously beautiful mattresses. There's going to be a nice mattresses over there. You'll be reclining. Man, just think about this. You'll be reclining on that mattress. You'll be eating pomegranates and I think it was date. Palm dates was the second one. You'll be munching on those. There's going to be two streams that will be running past by you. And you'll be laying on those mattresses and just staring at those hoodies the whole entire day. Will not be able to get your eyes off of them. And then once you have that strength of 30 man, you can do some too. Which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? That's Muhammad for you guys, okay? That's Muhammad. So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Do you see what type of heaven Muhammad's Allah is presenting to all men? Dear man, doesn't Islam seem extremely fleshly attractive? Like, whoa. You're talking to my heart type of thing, right? So which of the bounties of the Lord will you deny? Staring at women all the time. That's Islamic heaven. Let's look at another description, right next chapter, about more. What is Islamic heaven like? Yeah. Oh, the description starts from verse 11. Prior to verse 11, it's something else. So it's from the description is from verse 11 to verse 40. Okay, so those are the ones blessed with nearness to Allah. Those which ones? They're the righteous ones. In the gardens of bliss. Many from the first generations, and a few from the later ones. They will be sitting on the thrones woven with gold. And according to last chapter, they will also be laying down on those wonderful heavenly mattresses that instantly heals your back. No pain, no back pain forever and ever. Reclining on them, on those. So let's get back to this. They will be sitting on the thrones woven with gold, reclining on them, facing each other. Immortal boys will rotate around them. Man, dear man, are you really into boys too? Like, come on. Immortal boys will rotate around them. So a man will be sitting on a throne, and there's gonna be boys just running around. Like, Islam. What's going on? We have some passages in Islam where they're into prepubescent girls, and now here they're into boys as well. Oh, Islam. Quran. Come on. Anyways, immortal boys will rotate around them with bowls and jugs and goblet of pure wine. So wine is haram, not allowed. It's actually a big sin here on earth. But in heaven, it's going to be a pure wine. Something that, according to Quran, wine is from the devil. Devil actually invented wine. And in Islamic heaven, they will be indulging in a creation of the devil. With bowls and jugs of a goblet of pure wine, from which they will neither suffer headache nor will be intoxicated. it's going to be a pure one. The devil wants is the bad one, but this one is going to be a pure one. And until we get to heaven, we actually cannot know what the pure one is. We cannot make one here on earth. We just can't. So that's why it's haram. But in heaven, we'll be sitting on thrones. And boys will be running around us, bringing us cups of wine. And with fruits, they will choose. With the fruits, they will choose. And the flesh of the birds they desire. So, boys will also be bringing us some bird meat, some chicken, some turkey. Man, we'll be just chilling, sitting on a throne, munching on meat, and sipping on our wine. And for them, there will be, sitting on a throne. Man, look. Let me see if this is gonna spark your desire or not. To want to go to Islamic heaven. You're sitting on a throne. There's a bunch of boys, little boys are running around you. They're like puppies. There to bring you wine. A drink that you are not allowed to have here. You're not allowed to. Like, if you become a Muslim, forget about wine, okay? Because you're not allowed to have it here. But there, you can indulge in it as much as you want. As much as you want. But here, no. But there, oh yeah. Enjoy. Where sin becomes a reality. Enjoy. So you'll be sipping on that wine. You'll be eating that bird's meat that you'll pick up from the boys' trays. And then you'll be watching at those hoodies. Just hoodies walking around. And those hoodies will be having lovely, big eyes. But they will not be looking in your eyes. They go like, and be kind of shy with their big eyes. like as a man, I understand this fantasy. I actually understand. And it's so childish. It's so immature. It's so an extremely horny teenager that literally just got his hormones kicking. And he cannot control it himself and he does not know what to do. That's description. The Islamic heaven is a description of that sexually immature tantrum boy. And for them, there will be hoodies having lovely big eyes. All neat and clean. Oh, those women will be clean. They will not be stinking. They'll be clean, man. They'll be clean. Like a hidden pearl. And as a reward for what they used to do. So because you're a Muslim here, you'll be sitting on a throne over there and enjoying the view as much as you want. Unlimited. And there's different shapes and sizes too. Whatever shape and size you want, just stare at that one. And they'll be winking at you with their eyes. They will hear neither an abstract talk in it, nor something leading to sin. Yeah, all of this will not be leading to sin. No. The wine, the invention of the devil. It will not lead people to sin over there, even though it's an invention of the devil. I mean, all this non-stop sex will also not lead anyone into sin. It will lead people into sin here on earth, but over there? No. Why? Because the sin that is not permitted here on earth will be enabled in heaven, according to Islam. So they will hear neither an abstract talk in it, nor something leading to sin. but they will hear the words of salam. Salam as a greeting. Salam is peace. And the people of the right, how lucky are the people of the right? How lucky are they? They will be amid lotus trees with no thorns. And the trees of whatever this word is, banana or fragrant tree, having layers one upon the other, and a shade spread all over, and water poured forth, and lots of fruit, neither interrupted in any season nor prohibited. And mattress, the mattress, dear man, your back will not hurt. And mattresses of high quality. Surely we have made up those females. Oh, we're back to the females, man. Dear guys, we're back to the females. Surely we have made up those females in a dear man, look how those females are being presented. Dear man, please hear me out. Islamic heaven will have specially created females. They're specially created to please you sexually, to literally blow your wildest minds up, wildest desires. You think of your wildest imagination, and she will be executing your wildest imagination. They're special creation. And they're only in heaven. They never had sex with demons. And they will be yours. Surely we have made up those females in special creation and have made them virgins. Dear man, isn't that like striking you up? Armors to their husband, matching them in age. Hold on a second. What? So, according to Quran, the marriage in heaven is matching in age. Okay? So if a dude's going to be 20 years old, then that hootie is going to be also 20 years old. What's going on here on Earth? Literally, what's going on here on Earth? Dude can be 54 years old, and a girl can be 6 years old. What's going on here on Earth? A total mess, it looks like, huh? And finally, in heaven, it'll be fixed. Finally. Okay, anyways. At least in heaven, it's going to be fixed. In Islamic heaven. Oh, and it's going to be fixed for the people of the right, okay? Oh, I'm so glad I'm not the person of the right. I really am not, because... Anyways, let's continue. I'm not the person of the right according to Quran. I like to read that book. Why? Because you can see what we're reading, right? You can hear and understand all these grand imaginations. Your wildest desires will be fulfilled in Islamic heaven. So, man, if you submit to Allah and to Muhammad, submitting to Allah is not enough. No. Submitting to Allah is not enough. Submitting to Muhammad is necessary as well. So if you submit to Muhammad, the uneducated, the unlettered prophet that does not know how to read, write, or talk, or even logic, then you are going to go to heaven. But if you don't submit to this unlettered, uneducated prophet, Allah is not enough. He's not going to save you. So that's two passages from Quran describing how heaven will be. Men will have food, water, little boys, wine, and bunch of huri, specially designed females to fulfill their wildest sexual desires. And those hoodies will be, their eyes will be huge. I don't know. Like this? Their eyes would be huge. And their eyes would be so big and beautiful. Like, I understand that a lot of female, they think that puffing up their lips and making them look like a duck is beautiful. But me as a man, I'll just let you know that you look like a duck. You look less of a human being and more of a duck. You're beautiful as a human being, not a duck. So they're specially designed to be beautiful. Oh, as y'all can see, I'm in a good mood today. In a good mood today. This information, guys, this, like, literally, I did not really know this information until I started to look into it. And then once I started to look into it, I'm starting to scratch my head, and I'm starting to think to myself, how can people believe in this? But yet at the same time, I understand why men would be attracted to this. Would be attracted to this type of religion. A religion of unlimited sex. Starting here on Earth with 4 wives. And literally, throughout the whole day, visit all of them. Maybe make 2 rounds. You got the strength of 30 dudes. And then, special type of creation in heaven. Okay. Let's go to Hadith. Hadiths are interesting. Like, literally, they are interesting. Hadith. So, and in Hadith, we actually find that Muhammad, yeah, he's jumping. He's extremely sexually active. He's literally hopping between from wife to wife and nailing all of them in one day and night. So it's right here. And now let's transition to another hadith. Okay. Check this out. This one right here is kind of wild. I think this hadith makes Muslim women shake. Why? Listen to what it says. The messenger of Allah said, so Muhammad said, no woman annoys her husband but his wife among the hoodies of paradise, Safs. Do not annoy him. May Allah destroy you, for he is just a temporary guest with you, and soon he will leave you to join us. So, according to how I understand this, the hoodies is in a way warning or telling the wife not to annoy the husband. Because that husband that belongs to that wife right now is a temporary guest with her. And very soon, he's going to leave that wife and come to the hoodie. And hoodie will take care of him. She's specially created to do it. The way she takes care of him. No wife can. The wife. Do not annoy your husband. Don't. Because he's temporary with you. He'll go to the hoodie. And you will never see him again. And he will belong to the hoodie. Next. Yeah, so next, let's go to another hadith. You'll see, hadiths are just fascinating. Like, this Muhammad guy is, I don't want to get anyone, offended, but something to laugh about. A joke. We're gonna read a lot of jokes here. Like to common sense human being, what we'll be reading is gonna sound like a joke, literally. But that's hadith, a book of jokes. So Muhammad said, the first batch of apples who will enter paradise will be glittering like a full moon. And the next batch of apples, oops, I'm sorry. So the first batch of people of apples, where I get the apples from. So the first batch of people who will enter paradise, heaven, will be glittering like full moon. And the next batch next to them will be glittering like the most brilliant star in the sky. Their hearts will be as if the heart of a single man, for they will have neither enmity nor jealousy amongst themselves. Everyone will have 2 wives from the Houthis. So there's going to be 2 Houthis. 2. Okay, not just 1, 2. The 2 specially created female beings to fulfill your wildest sexual desires. Who will be so beautiful, pure, and transparent. That's the marrow of their bones, of their legs, will be seen through the bones and flesh. Dear man, you're a Houthi. You're specially created woman to fulfill all your sexual desires. You'll be able to look through her skin and actually see her intestines. I don't know how beautiful that is, but you'll be able to actually see her bone marrows, her bones. You'll see her stomach. You'll see her heart. Okay, I'm getting some ideas that I'm not gonna speak out. I'm getting some ideas that are like, let's continue. But this Houthi, you're gonna have 2 of them, and you will be able to see their guts. They'll be that beautiful. Next, another hadith. It was narrated by Abu Umam that Muhammad said, there is no one whom Allah will admit to paradise, but Allah will marry him to 72 wives. 2 from Houthis. Okay, so 2 out of those 72 will be from those special Houthis, as we read in the previous hadith. And 70 from his inheritance from the people of hell. I have a question. What? There's gonna be 70 people, 70 human that belong to hell will be in heaven? Of all whom will have desirable front passages. And he will have a male member that will never become flaccid, soft and limp. Dear man, according to Islamic heaven, we're gonna have a big upgrade. We literally will have a big upgrade. It's gonna be big. If you're suffering right now, ooh, it's gonna be big. And gonna be soft and limp, I'll tell you that. It's gonna be strong enough for 72 women. 72 women. According to Islam, the real reward comes in heaven. There will be full-blown non-stop sex for eternity. For women here on earth, will turn into a minimum of 72 human in heaven. Islam's reward for men is that they will have a minimum of 72 sex sessions in a single day. Okay. What? Hold on. That is one sex session every 20 minutes. If that sex session will last for about 15 minutes, then after the man is done, he will have only 5 minutes to run to his next female, to his next sex session. Or it might start without him. But will a man have enough strength for so much non-stop sex? Like, think about it. Every 20 minutes, there's going to be sex. Every 20 minutes, sex. Sex. Now, you either have to be a very fast, calmer and last only 2 minutes and then rest a bit. Or, if you're going to be pleasing your booty over there and you want to please her a little more, then you can only do it for a maximum of 15 minutes. Why? Because you will have then 5 minutes to get to your next one. Or the train is settled. But now, 72 times having a man is going to have. A man is going to have. Oh, yeah. An interesting comment just came in. Dear man, this comes from a woman. She's commenting, okay? She wants to remind us how great Islamic heaven will be. Those sex sessions with hoodies, it's not going to be about pleasing the hoodie. No. The hoodie will have only 15 minutes to please you, and then you have to run to the next one. So she will have only 15 minutes to literally execute all of your sexual desires, imaginations. And then you run to the next one. And after you're done with the next one, you got 5 minutes again to run to the next one. After you're done with that one, now you run to the next one. And the next one is going to be pleasing you. And then you can tell your sexual desires to the next one, and then to the next one, and to the next one, and 72 different females in one day. Sex every 20 minutes. Okay, so Muhammad had strength here on earth of 30 men when it came to women. He could literally nail all of his 9 in one day. No problem. No problem. 30 men. But hold on a second. In Islamic heaven, it's not 9. In Islamic heaven is 72. That's quite a bit more than 9. Okay, well. Let's look at another hadith. Okay, so Anas narrated that the Prophet said, "The believer shall be given in paradise." Okay, so in the last hadith, we read that, man, our great member will be big. It will not be soft or wimply. It will never fail to execute as well. Man, our dear member will be big. Now, the believer shall be given in paradise such and such strength in intercourse. It was said, "O Messenger of Allah, and will he able to do that?" Like, somebody's actually questioning, like, 72 women. You're telling me I'll be nailing 72 women in one day? Will I even be able to do this? Like, what kind of heaven is that? What's going to be happening over there? He said he will be given a strength of 100 men. Whoa. Muhammad here on earth had strength of 30 men. But in Islamic heaven, Muhammad is going to have strength of 100 men. So is every believer that gets to this sex paradise. They will have strength of 100 men. So, nailing 72 women in one day, not a problem in Islamic heaven. Nope. Our member will be big. It will be stiff. It will not fall or shrink. It'll literally be an oak tree. Yeah, strong enough to take down 72 women in one day. And all of this shows us. No wonder why Muhammad has perverted the teachings of Jesus Christ. No wonder why. He was so he was so obsessed with sex that he could care less about obeying Jesus Christ in marriage as monogamy and obeying Jesus Christ not to divorce women and not to marry to the divorced woman. He could care less. Like a story with Zainab and Zaid. I mean, the second the divorced Zainab, Ida, 3-month waiting period was over, Muhammad was nailing her. The next day, that evening, he was nailing her. Literally nailing her. Why? Because Allah told him to nail her. And you can see that the whole entire religion is focused around sex. So for Muhammad having only 4 wives, no Jesus. No. It's like, no. I mean, he did not even him being a Muslim did not even obey the Muslim commandments that he set forth. He didn't obey them himself. He said 4 wives, but he was going around and banging 9 women in one day. But he said only 4. But then, his imagination says, but for you, Muhammad, for you, no rule applies. This rule about 4 wives for you, Muhammad. Only for you, though. For every other male, yes, it applies. But for you, no, it doesn't apply. You're welcome to do 9 or 11 or however many you want to do. Telling you, this Muhammad's Allah is all over the place. The partiality is crazy. The partiality is crazy. The flip-flopping is crazy. The jokes in Hadith are insane. Like, why go to a special joke website online? Why? Just go to Hadith. Read some of the information over there. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you laugh and lose some brain cells at the same time. Okay, and and also speaking, like if I were to think about it, I just got another interesting comment in. But if I were to think about it, why would a Christian leave Christ and settle for a religion like Islam? Why? Well, because every person, every male is experiencing the sexual temptations and everything else. And in Islam, I mean, they're saying, the Muslims are saying that they're pointing to the same God, but this same God in Islam allows us to be sexually perverted. In Christianity, this same God does not allow us to be sexually perverted, but in Islam, yeah, oh, big time. So if it's the same God and we both are saved and we'll be in heaven, so why not be sexually perverted here on earth and then indulge in everlasting sex in heaven? Why not? Why not, right? Yeah, it's a good deception of the devil. Very good deception of the devil. The devil in heaven, in hell, is promising every single person, whomever is willing to come to hell, hell will be a non-stop party of sex, alcohol, drugs, and rock and roll. That's basically the promise. We find 2 out of the 3 in Islamic heaven. Two out of the 3 promises of hell, we actually find them in Islamic heaven. The sex aspect, non-stop sex. Oh, sir, would you like some more wine? Would you like some more wine? That aspect. And the comment is, Muhammad figured what attracts men that don't follow Jesus. Men that follow Jesus couldn't be controlled by this because Jesus taught the opposite. So that's why Muhammad canceled what Jesus taught and presented men with something they want, polygamy, plus eternity of that. Eternity full of non-stop polygamy. Like in Christianity, the Christians describe heaven as non-stop worship of God. The Muslim description of heaven is men are laying down on the special mattresses, munching on 2 types of fruits, two streams are running close to them, and they're gazing at this extremely sexually active woman. Christians will be worshiping God for eternity, and Muslims will be sexually pleased for eternity. That's just the comparison between 2 heavens. And dear Muslim, the heaven you're going to go to is not the same one I'm going to. No, it's not the same one. I as a Christian, I am not going to a heaven where there's going to be non-stop everlasting sin. Literally sex, drugs, and alcohol, or sex, alcohol, and rock and roll. But there's no, music is haram in Islam. Or maybe Quran will allow it in Islamic heaven. Maybe, just maybe. I need to look into that. Maybe. So our heaven is not the same. Why our heaven is not the same? The Christian and the Muslim. Why our heaven is not the same? Because it's not the same God. Literally, it's not the same God. It's hard for me to even believe in this Islamic Allah. It's really, really hard to believe that this Muhammad's Allah is God. I don't think so. To me, it seems more and more and more that Muhammad's Allah is Muhammad's stupid tantrums. He's executed stupidity in his head, and then he is bashing people with this Allah, Allah, Allah. He's bashing them into submission. And if they submit, he's promising them the most sinful desires to be fulfilled. Now, let's move into the second part. Wow, it's 9:13. Let's move into the second part. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so the Mormon and LDS. I'll just read you an article about their stuff. Okay, just to go over it quickly. But y'all see, well, it's the same thing. The concept is the same. This this fraud angel, this evil angel, Islamic Gabriel comes to Muhammad and presents him a literally a corrupted gospel. And then Muhammad, he teaches people that corrupted gospel. Same thing with Joseph Smith. Angel Moroni comes to him and presents to Joseph Smith same crap. A corrupted gospel. A hidden corrupted gospel. Hidden. So if it's hidden, it has to be accepted and even replace the original because it was hidden. But now let's see what this hidden one says. And maybe it was hidden all the way from the beginning. Maybe this corrupted gospel is the beginning gospel. Okay. So the base of the Mormon, the reasoning and the base of the Mormons is very similar. It more closer aligns to the Jews than to the Muslims. The Muslims, they are just sexually perverted beyond imagination and control. The Mormons, it looks like to me they used the polygamy thing in order to populate their religion faster. That's what it looks like to me. Their base reasoning was, well, yes, of course, it feels nice too to do a few humans, sure, whatever. You know, those evil sexual desires that men go through. Sure, I'm not discarding that side, but it looks like their base was more of a yes, the Mormon heaven is sexualized as well, but it's not as crazy as the Islamic one. Like Islamic heaven is like, it tells me a lot about who Muhammad was. It tells me a lot about who Muhammad was. That he was literally a sexually perverted human being. He was extremely sexually driven to the point where his heaven is non-stop sex. Non-stop sex. That was his desire. Now, according to Islam, every Muslim's desire will be executed in heaven. There was one woman said, well, all of my desires will be executed in heaven too. I literally can care less that my husband will be doing all those 72 hooties all around. Well, the 2 hooties and 70 women from hell. It's strange to me, but whatever. It's strange to me. So she said, I can care less that my husband is going to be banging all of them. I can care less. I'm just going to go talk to the prophets. I don't care about my husband. I don't want to have sex with them anyways. Well, that's kind of what she presented it as. Like she has no interest in her husband anyways. She just wants to go talk to the prophets and hear their life story. So she's gonna go talk to Moses, to Abraham, and to other prophets and just hear their life story. So that's what she's gonna do. She can care less about her husband. Her husband can care less about his wife. Her wife is gonna go talk to the prophets, and her husband is gonna go bang other women. That's Islamic heaven. Like, in both descriptions that we read in the Quran, I'll get to the Mormon soon, but one last point about the Quran. In both passages from the Quran that we read, notice that we have not seen the worship of Muhammad's Allah. We didn't see the worship of Muhammad's Allah at all. It was zero. It was all centralized on man's greatest desires. It's not centralized on humans worshiping God, but more like the special creatures are worshiping man. Actually, have a little video too, 6 minutes long. One of the signs that you can know that the religion is false. One of the signs. Just look at the heaven. Look at the heaven, the picture of their heaven, the heaven that they present, the heaven that they think about. Just look at that. If that heaven is full of sin, oh, you know that that religion is false. Why? Because that religion is built on men's lustful desires. You know this then. But if the heaven that someone is telling you about is centralized on God, where man would have to submit and worship God, then that religion could be true. Why? Because instead of man is worshipped in heaven, God is worshipped and central in heaven. So that's just one of the signs that you can see if the religion is false or true. Just look at their heaven. Oh, by the way, for everybody who is still watching, any comments? Throw them in a comment section on YouTube. If you want to have a live conversation, raise your hand on Telegram or raise your hand on the studio public room. But until then, let's see what the Mormons say about their stuff. And before we jump in there, just a quick reminder. Please do like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment on the video. Your like helps YouTube to spread this video to more people. And whenever you share, that's actually what you're doing. You're just spreading this video to more people as well. Whenever you subscribe, you'll receive the notifications about the live streams. And at the moment, every Monday at 7 p.m. California time, stable. I'm sticking with this one. And then on Sunday, every Sunday, I'm gonna try to do a live stream right now too. Every Sunday, I do not know the time yet. I'm not stuck on the time on that one because different Sunday, different events can happen. And also during the week, I'll have an hour, 2 or 3. I'll jump on and do a live stream as well. So you subscribe. I usually during the week I usually announce the live streams about half an hour before they happen. So you'll get a notification. If you're not busy, you're welcome to join in and participate in the talk as well. Throw crazy questions at me or throw a thumbs up by liking the video. But anyways, let's jump into the Mormon side right now. So again, the Mormon side is their reasoning is different from Islamic. Their Mormon side is they wanted to grow their religion fast in number. A similar concept that we find from the children of Israel. Polygamy was actually used. I'm trying to remember right now. I'm just sitting and I'm trying to remember how many of Jacob's kids went into polygamous marriages. I'll need to look into that one. I've never really looked into that one yet. but Jacob's kids. Um, the Reuben, the Levite, the Judah, the Gad, the Simeonite, Joseph, Benjamin, those guys. How many of them went into polygamous marriages? Off top of my head, I do not recall even one off top of my head. But it'll be interesting to find out. So I will definitely look into that too. But Israel actually used a polygamy in order to multiply. And multiply fast too, really fast, really fast. Where in about 450 years, Israel as a nation grew from 72 people into 1.2, 1.3 million, 1.5 million in a matter of, what is it, 450 years, 404 or 450 years. And whenever I did a generation count, I think it was within 5 generations. 5 generations where they grew from 72 people into approximately 1 point, I would say 2 million. That's crazy. Imagine how many kids each dad has to have. Each dad. But now, if that dad has a lot of wives, then, it makes things easier. If that dad has a total of 20 kids spread amongst 5 wives, each wife having about 4 kids, then she can take care of those 4 kids. Fine. But if a man was to take care of all those 20 kids himself, that would be painful. So the Jews, they used the form of polygamy in order to multiply really fast. And it looks like to me that Joseph Smith, he understood this concept, and he decided to use it as well. And it somewhat worked. Let's see some information about Mormons here. So key instructions and revelations. The first one, the Doctrine and the Covenants, section 132. This is the only canonized revelation in the LDS. LDS is the later days saints. In LDS tradition that formally outlines the doctrine of plural marriages. It was recorded in 1843, but claimed to reflect revelation given to Joseph Smith as early as 1831. The main teaching include plural marriage is ordained by God to restore all things from biblical times. So they were actually Joseph Smith was targeting marriage. He was literally fighting hardcore against Jesus Christ. Hardcore. Jesus says no, and he says yes. Jesus says God's original design is one man, one woman, and Joseph Smith says God's original design is one man and multiple women. So plural marriage is ordained by God to restore all things from biblical times. Crazy. It is part of the new and everlasting covenant. In the New Testament, we clearly see how Jesus abolishes the practice of divorce. Abolishes the practice, well, not abolishes, but fades away the practice of polygamy. And LDS, or the root teachings of the Mormons, it says that polygamy, the plural marriage, it is part of the new and everlasting covenant of marriage, essential for exaltation, the highest level of salvation. Wow. So if a man wants to wants to reach the highest level of salvation, he was required to go into polygamous marriage. He was required. Wives given a right, oh no, I'm sorry, wives given to a righteous man in this covenant are eternally sealed to him. It requires the first wife's consent, though practical practice often did not follow this. References to biblical polygamists such as Abraham, David, Solomon's as the role model of polygamy, how polygamy should be done. Okay, so the second point is the private teachings and instructions. So Joseph Smith, taught polygamy secretly to a small circle of followers in Nauvoo, Illinois, in the early 1940s. He emphasized it as a sacred duty and a test of faith. This is crazy. He's literally pushing polygamy on people. At least Muhammad, he was not pushing polygamy on men. He wasn't. I mean, he just did monkey see, monkey do example. He just took for himself 11 wives. Or 9 at the same time, I guess. But Joseph Smith is extreme in polygamy. He is actually pushing the members of LDS by preaching to them, pushing them to go get another wife. During the days when polygamy was illegal in the United States. So he emphasized it as a sacred duty and a test of faith, often warning that rejection of the principle would lead to damnation. So according to Joseph Smith, man, this guy took polygamy to a whole different level. According to Joseph Smith, if you don't practice multiple wives, if you don't literally go against the United States, the custom of the United States of having one wife, you can be damned to hell. This guy is whole next level. Instructions included rules about secrecy due to persecution and the sensitive nature of the practice. What type of persecution? It was illegal in the United States. Illegal. So people can easily let the authorities know. And then Joseph Smith and his friends will have issues with the government. So that's why it was secret. It wasn't promoted on out in the streets, but it was promoted in private teachings. Not just promoted, it was pushed upon. And within the LDS, within the teachings of LDS, we also find something really, really extreme. We don't find this in Quran, but we do find it in LDS. It's really extreme. So marriage to already married women. The third point. Marriage to already married women. And you might think like, what? What did you say? That's adultery. According to the Bible. That's literally adultery. Yeah, according to the Bible. But please remember that people like Joseph Smith and Muhammad, they did not come to confirm the Bible. They came to change the Bible. They came to corrupt the Bible, to twist what God said into something what they want it to say. So Joseph Smith probably seen some females that belong to other males that attracted him. So Joseph Smith would do exactly the same thing as Muhammad would do. Joseph Smith would go and speak to his Allah. Muhammad would speak to his Allah, and Joseph Smith would speak to his Allah. And now Muhammad's Allah and Joseph Smith's Allah are two different Allahs. And each of those Allahs is nothing more but a figment of their imagination. Okay, so what does this marriage to already married woman work? Or what it is? How does it work? Smith practiced polygamy. In some cases, marrying women who were already legally married to other men. And Zena Diatha Huntington. So Zena Diatha Huntington, Mary Elizabeth Rowlands. It looks like those two women were already married, legally married to other men, and they got transferred to Joseph Smith, right into his hands. Very similar as Zainab got transferred from Zayd into the hands of Muhammad. But at least Zayd divorced Zainab first. But here in Joseph Smith's case, no divorce is necessary. Joseph Smith just comes and takes the wife. Why? He's the prophet, right? He's this prophet. He's the parrot that screams, the chihuahua that barks. That's what really it is. Okay, so anyways, these relationships were framed as eternal sealings. As eternal sealings only. Not always involving a physical marriage. Well, thank God. But sometimes it did involve physical marriage too. Or the husband or the wife of a husband is having sex with some other dude. And it would be totally okay. Okay, so the marriage to young women. Joseph Smith liked young women too. Same as Muhammad. Them both are sexually perverts. Marriage to young women. Smith married several teenage girls. The youngest girl being Helen Mar Kimball, aged 14. This was presented to her family as an eternal sealing or exaltation. Man, when a prophet is evil, how can you tell that he's evil? He is always saying that, like, let's say in Muhammad's case, I'll just give you an example. In Muhammad's case, Muhammad saw Aisha. Aisha was a daughter of one of Muhammad's closest colleagues, one of his closest friends. And he looked at her and he liked her. So then he comes to her papa and says, "Yo, your daughter, I like her. I want to marry her. Give me your daughter into marriage." Papa said, "Bro, we're brothers. Come on, what are you doing? We're brothers." Then Muhammad goes home. He prays. He's throwing a tantrum to his own imagination. His imagination, Allah, he's throwing a tantrum. And then his imagination, Allah, responds back to him. Go tell to that dad, I forgot what his name was. Where's the car? I forgot what his name was. But go tell to that father that God ordains this marriage. That God wants this marriage to happen. That Muhammad's Allah wants Muhammad to marry. I'll just say it in a safe way. Marry a 6-year-old Aisha. Muhammad's Allah wants this to happen. And then her dad said, well, that's the case. He brings his daughter to Muhammad's house. She was still playing with dolls. He drops his daughter to Muhammad's house, gives her right into his hands, and goes home. And Muhammad can do anything he wants. Joseph Smith, it looks like very similar, was extremely sexually perverted to the point where he married several teenage girls. And the youngest one was 14. And this was presented to the family of that 14-year-old girl as something special, as exaltation. It's like leveling up. There's going to be better rewards in heaven for this leveling up. Okay, so controversies and disputes. Secrecy and denial. Publicly, Smith and the early church denied practicing polygamy to avoid persecution. This led to divisions and accusations of dishonesty. First wife, Emma Smith. Emma was often unaware or opposed to many of Joseph's plural marriages. Section 132 warns Emma, look. So his first wife, Emma, did not support. She was either unaware of Joseph Smith going around and having sex with teenage girls. Sometimes she was not aware, but when she was aware, she did not support this. But from God, section 132 that was given to Joseph Smith warns Emma to accept the principle or be destroyed. Joseph Smith is literally a hardcore manipulator using God. Same as Muhammad. Both of them are deceivers in the name of God. And Joseph Smith, from God, was giving to his first wife a command. Shut up. Why shut up? Because he looks like those teenage girls. Okay, so now this is very important too. Well, actually, I don't really care about this, but so that everybody would know, I guess. Post-martyrdom developments. So after Smith's death in 1844, polygamy was publicly acknowledged and practiced under Brigham Young, leading to conflicts with the U.S. government. The LDS Church officially ended the practice of polygamy in 1890 manifesto, though some fundamentalist splinter groups continue it. So now, the modern-day LDS Church perspective is this. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints today condemns polygamy. So the Church of LDS actually went against their prophet. They started to fight their own prophet. Joseph Smith said that if you're not going into polygamous marriages, you're going to be condemned. You won't go to heaven. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, this church have a Jesus Christ of their own version too. Islam has a Jesus Christ of their own, Islamic Jesus, The Mormons have the Latter Day Saints, Jesus, a different version of Jesus than the Jesus that Christians preach. So it looks like here that the Latter Day Saints in about 50 years and a lot of issues with the United States government because of polygamy, they decided to cancel polygamy. And not just cancel it and that's it, but to condemn polygamy as well. It acknowledges Smith's role in introducing the principle, but treats it as historical. Discontinued practice, required for a time to establish the covenant. In section 132, section 132 remains in LDS scripture, but it is interpreted as applying only to eternal sealing, not earthly plural marriages. So LDS has changed the meaning of section 132 from you can have many teenage girls here to you'll have many teenage girls in heaven. Very similar to what Muslims are doing and claiming. Very similar. Very similar. So y'all can see, I mean, I took a lot of time today explaining this. But y'all can see that false prophets, the reason why they're false is because they are fighting the true prophets, fighting against them. Jesus faded the polygamy away, and Jesus canceled the divorce. Any prophet, so-called prophet, that comes after Jesus Christ and enables polygamy or divorce, that person is false. They are not of God. They're not of God. The prophets that are of God, they love Jesus Christ. How? Look what Jesus says. Right here. John chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. This is what Jesus says. And Jesus says this also to Muhammad. Muhammad, if you love me, keep all my commandments. Now, did Muhammad keep the commandments of Jesus and Joseph Smith? Or did they fight against the commandments of Jesus? If they fought against the commandments of Jesus, this proves that they are false prophets. False prophet, simply said, is not of God, but they are full of deception only. And they are from the father of deception, which is the devil. And for some reason, Allah of Muhammad is proud in Quran, is proud to call himself the father of schemers. Okay? In the Bible, the father of deception or schemers is the devil. So for some reason, this Allah of Muhammad is proud to call himself the devil of the Bible. I'm telling you, Quran is crazy. Why? Because it's not from God. Same thing with Joseph Smith that we read. It's crazy. Why? Because it's not from God. It's built according to man's desires. Polygamy is one of the greatest man's desires. And divorce too. Why? Because divorce will make polygamy even easier. Sleep with women and then shoo them away if you get sick and tired of them. Well, that's going to be the topic for today. Just want to throw a quick reminder out there. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Actually, I'm actually interested in all the comments that will come. If a comment comes, thank you. If not, then thank you too. And let me just double check to make sure. Okay. I think we will be done for today. But everybody, just remember that God's teachings that we find, especially in the beginning, they are perfect. They're perfect. And God's design that we find in the beginning is one man, one woman, equals one united marriage. And that marriage, man cannot separate because God has united that one man and one woman. Okay? So let's obey God. Let's not obey men. Do not obey Muhammad, or, if you will, and bring a second wife home. Guess what? Yes, you might enable yourself a temporary pleasure because you just got another woman, but you also enabled yourself an everlasting, huge, huge headache and irritation because of the side effects of polygamy. And that was side effects of polygamy was the second part. So if you want, you can always uh, take a look at that one too. And again, thank you for everybody who participated. Thank you for everybody uh, who watched. Thank you for everybody. I do appreciate you guys all. Y'all are wonderful and great. And my hopes and prayers is that God will bless you and God will enrichly, enrichly um, fill you with His Spirit and His wisdom. Why? Because His wisdom are His ways, and His ways are the true blessing. God bless everybody, and I will see you guys around.